So today we're giving a talk on words can change your brain and people first language or person first language. And you can see what it entails. My name's Irv Bartokovsky. I'm a professor here at Cerritos College. And I'd like to always begin my talks by telling you a little bit about who I am. You know I'm a professor here. I'm a former master professor at Cal State Los Angeles. I'm a credentialed education specialist, and I'm not bragging. I'm letting you know that you're in good hands, that I'm pretty knowledgeable about the topic we're going to talk about today. And now I want to know a little bit about you. So I know most of you are in the Puente program, correct? So what majors are you representing? Journalism, awesome. I did that in my undergrad for a bit. Political science, and what are you going to do with that? You're going to go on and become a lawyer? Excellent. Good choice. I went to law school. Didn't graduate, but I went to law school. Challenging but fun. Yes? Chicano Studies. Excellent. Have you looked at the program they have over at ELAC in Cal State Los Angeles? Great programs. Anyone else? Human biology? Want to be a doctor? Thinking about it? Good for you. Very good. Computer information science. You know, I work here at Cerritos College in the DSPS department, Disabled Students Programs and Services. And I also oversee our high-tech center. We do a lot of technology stuff over there. All right, so I don't profess to be an expert, but I'm pretty knowledgeable in the field anyway. Anyone else that wants to share their major? Okay, we're good to go. So I want you to know I'm also a father, a husband, a brother. I'm an uncle. I'm a friend. I love to run. I'm a gardener. I have a huge yard I spend a lot of time in. And I also happen to be a person with a disability. And we learned about who you are as well. So today, this is what we're going to cover. We're going to cover a KWL chart. We're going to talk about person first language. And we're going to do a little test. We're all going to do a test. Don't freak out. You're not going to be graded on it. And we're going to talk about why what we're talking about is important. What we're going to find out about the test, the results, and why that's important to us, what the research tells us. And we're going to give you examples today of changing negative language to positive, and then we're going to do at the end a completion of the KWL chart. So who knows what a KWL chart is? Yes? Absolutely. So in your folders, thank you very much, in your folders is a chart, a KWL chart. And I just want you to take about 3 minutes to fill out just 2 portions of that. And the 2 portions that you're going to fill out are what you know and what you want to know. Just the first 2 columns of what you think this may be about. What do you think this is truly going to be about, this talk? What you think you know about it, what you want to know about it. And then at the end, we're going to figure out and fill out what you learned about it, okay? Just take about 3 minutes. If you have time, you could even engage in conversation with your neighbor about it, okay? Okay, I know some of you are still working on it, but we need to go forward. We don't have much time. I'm going to ask you the question, what do you think this talk is about? Raise your hand, anyone, please. What do you think it might be about? Yes, sir. Yes, that's true. He said that how words influence a person, the way a person may think. That's true to a great degree. And yes, we are going to touch upon that to some degree. Anyone else? Come on now. You all filled it out. What do you think it is? What's that? Again, I'm sorry. Positivism. Yes, you're right. We're going to talk. Autism? No, it's not about autism. It's about all disabilities, about all abilities, really. But we could talk about that maybe later. Anyone else? A little bit about brain development. Absolutely. The impact of what our brain does when it's exposed to certain elements. Okay, that is what it's about. Absolutely. Anyone else? Yes. How what? How disabilities affect us. To some degree, yes. Or how we approach disabilities or how we look at disabilities and how that affects us and others. Yes, absolutely. So what do you want to learn from this talk? What do you hope to get out of this, even though you may or may not know exactly what it's about yet? What do you want to walk away with? Yes. That's nice and broad. More knowledge about what I'm going to talk about. Yes, I agree. That'd be great. And you will. You'll walk away from here with some knowledge, more knowledge, and hopefully a changed person. The more knowledge we get, the more changed we are. Anyone else? Strategies? Yes. Strategies, exactly. You're going to learn some strategies for sure. Someone else? Back of the room. Okay. So, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go forward. This was the KWL chart that you filled out. So I want to tell you about people first language or person first language. Anyone familiar with IDEA? Individuals with Disabilities Education Act? It's an act that governs special education services at the K-12 level, from kindergarten, actually preschool really, all the way through high school and a little beyond. And in that law, there was a recent change, and that change said that when we talk about disabilities, we need to talk about them with respect. And we need to talk about them by putting the person first. And simply put, it means this. I am not a disabled person. I am a person with a disability. And because we know, so this was the catalyst of change, was this idea. Was the idea of IDEA. It said, hey, we've been doing it wrong. We've been defining people by their disability. And that's wrong. We need to acknowledge that a person is a person first. In that slide earlier I showed you, I told you that I was an uncle, a father, a husband, a brother. And then I told you that happened to have what? Disability. Secondary to who I am first. And that's the thrust and understanding of people first language. We know through research, and everything we're going to talk about today, it's not hokey pokey. It's not something that we think works. It's not something that we think is good. We know through research, quantitative, the numbers, statistics tell us through many, many studies that this is true, this is viable, this is absolute in many, many ways. And what we know is that words are powerful and can acknowledge, define, uplift, or marginalize somebody. What does marginalize mean? Stereotype, yes. Put someone down, maybe, is another way of putting it. Make someone feel bad. So we know that words, simple words, can make you feel up and good, and simple words can make you feel not so good. And think about it. Do I want to be called a person with a disability, or I want to be called a disabled person? See how powerful that sounds? It's a big difference in its impact, but it's a small change. It's a small little practical change. It's nothing huge. So, I told you about the tests. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this test. I'd like you now to let me prove this all to you. Okay? So I'd like you to all stand up. Those that can, please stand up. Okay, I'd like you to close your eyes. It's okay, it's safe, don't worry. I'd like all the gentlemen to take out their money and wallets, place it on the table. I'll be by shortly. Do that now. I'm kidding, don't do that. Close your eyes, though. Please close your eyes. I'd like you to take a nice deep breath. Relax. Another one. And one more. Relax. No. No, no, no. 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 No, 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 no. 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 No, no, no. No. No, 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 no. No. Nice deep breath. Keep your eyes closed. Again. Yes. 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 Yes, 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 yes. 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 Yes, yes, yes. 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 Yeah. Yes. Nice deep breath. Exhale. Have a seat. Now, please cooperate with me here. How did you feel when I was saying no over and over and over again? What was that? Who said it? Annoyed. Anyone else feel annoyed? What else did you feel? Rejection. Tense. Anyone else? Uncomfortable. Anyone else? Stressed. Okay? When I was looking at you, your bodies, and I have to do this, I keep saying I'm going to do it, and I don't. Haven't had the time. I want you videotaped and put you up here so you could see. Your bodies tense up. Your shoulders get tight. Some of you grimace. Anybody feel like hitting me? Yeah. I hear that all the time. People are like, man, I wanted to punch you in the face. Why don't you just stop? Now, how did you feel when I said yes over and over again? Relaxed? At ease? Anyone else? Yes? You thought it was funny? Okay. I've heard things like, glad it was over, felt better. It was like, oh, good, we're in a good spot now. Well, I'm here to tell you, oops, I did wrong. The research tells us that you went through something. Now, a wonderful thing happened back in 1990. Some real smart people got together and they created what's called an active MRI. And an active MRI is an apparatus that we could put on somebody and we could see what the brain is actually doing when it's exposed to different stimuli. Okay, we know what's going on. So neuropsychology studies the structure and function of the brain as it relates to specific processes, psychological processes and behaviors, or what we know as stimuli. The words we hear, the things we see, the words we say actually change our brain. Actually have the ability to change our brain. Does anybody know what part of the brain we're talking about? We'll get to that. So here's what the research actually tells us. It tells us that this part of our brain right up here, known as the frontal lobe, is responsible for all these great things. I refer to it as positiveness. When we are doing things like planning, judgment, laughter, memory, happiness, planning, all that goes on right up in here. Okay? That's the part of the brain that turns on, if you will. Okay? That's the part of the brain turns on when we're exposed to good stuff. So when we hear positive words or see positive words or positive actions, positive experiences, that turns on. However, when we hear or see negative words, it actually turns off. It turns off. That beautiful part of that brain will slowly shut down. And sometimes, in most cases, rapidly shut down. And a different part of the brain turns on. Does anybody know what that part of the brain is? Yes, ma'am? The amygdala. So here's the amygdala. If I were to get my hand, or if you were to get your finger and draw a line about where the bridge of your nose is, and to where your ears are, and where those lines intersect, kind of in the center of your brain, is a piece of your brain about a walnut size. Looks like a walnut. I mean, about the size of a walnut. And we call that oftentimes a primitive part of the brain. And what does it do? What is it? It's part of the brain. It's in the center. You know that now. I refer to it as my 3 Fs. And that doesn't mean flipping off someone in succession 3 times. That was supposed to be funny. What it does mean for me, though, is that it's the part of the brain, you've heard of it, it's the flight or fight part of the brain. I put fright in there. So we also refer to it as the primitive part of the brain. It's been with us since we were cavemen. It senses urgency. It senses threat. And so when I was saying no, 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 what do you think part of your brain turned on? The amygdala. Because it senses a threat. No to us, since we were children, is associated with a lot of negativity. We're conditioned for that. So in modern days, we don't need to fight off a dinosaur or, fight off another tribe or anything for the most part. But when we did, that part of our brain knew threat. I instantly need to turn on to do what? I need to get frightened. I'm frightened about it. I need to get the heck out of there, or I need to defend myself. But the same happens today. Today, when we sense a threat, and no to us is interpreted as a threat, that part of our brain turns on. And turns on quickly. Because it has to respond to threat quickly, right? If you wait to respond to threat, you're in jeopardy. You could potentially be in jeopardy. So it's a beautiful mechanism. But is it the part of the brain that's responsible for all that goodness? All that loveliness? The positiveness? No, it is not. So, I told you earlier that I have a disability. Oops, we jumped. I'm sorry, we jumped here. I apologize. All right. So what we hear, what we say, literally changes our brain. We know that. I'm going to show you a real quick clip. That I love.
You is kind, you is smart, you is important, you is smart, you is kind, you is important. Oh, that's so good.
So the reason why I show that clip is because I want you to know they got it right in that clip. Anybody see that movie? It's called The Help. And in The Help, that maid gets fired. And she's raised that child since the child was very young. And before she leaves, she sits down with that child and says what she always says to that child. Those words, you're smart, you're kind, you're important. And you know what? It may seem small, but you know what? If you call someone a thief long enough, what do you think happens? They start stealing. You tell someone long enough you're kind, you're smart, and you're important, the person rises to that occasion. Because what's turning on? That beautiful part of the brain, your frontal lobe, is what's turning on. Now, I told you earlier that I had a disability. Can you see my disability? No? Would you see me? Would I walk in a room, would you say, oh, there's disabled Mr. Bartokovsky? I would hope not. But I'm here to tell you I have multiple disabilities. I was in a horrible car accident many years ago. I was 30 years old, and I suffered what's called acquired brain injury, traumatic brain injury, where the right side of my head was hit in such a way that I had to learn a lot of my functions over again. My memory was very poor, right side of my body didn't work, but I went through tons of therapy and regained all of it back, most of it back. To this day, I have residual. When I'm tired or under stress, this side of my body just feels heavy. You'll never notice it. I notice it. This side of my mouth, I collect a little more saliva than I should, and I will wipe it. You won't notice it. I often will bite my lip or the side of my cheek because I don't feel this down here, okay? And it gets in the way, particularly when I'm in stress. I also have ADD. Anybody have ADD in here or know that you do? Or ADHD, attention deficit disorder, or attention deficit disorder with hyperactivity. I don't take medication for it. I have learned strategies over the years to sort of harness my attention. However, there's times where I'm all over the page. I'll start talking about things, this and this and this, because it's in my mind. I also have a learning disability. Anybody here have a learning disability that you know about? You don't have to say that you do. It's all good. I have one. I don't process information really well when I hear it. I have what's known as an auditory deficit disorder. Point is, the brain is malleable. The brain can change. I'm living proof of that. After my car accident, I could not walk well. My speech was horrible. My memory was really bad. But through intense therapy, my brain reconnected, so to speak. It turned on again. Okay? And you need to know that. Your brain is malleable. That means it's like clay. It could be changed. We could change the way and format of it and the way that it fires its processes. So now I'm going to talk to you about person-first language, more specifically. And the reason why I am is because that's my arena. I've been doing this for 20 years in terms of special education, special needs. And here's what I want to tell you first and foremost is this. We often talk about disability, what a person cannot do. And what I like to suggest is, let's focus on what we can do, our abilities. Because guess what? We all are able in some way. We all have something to give this earth. We all have qualities about us that are wonderful. And what I like to say too is this. You look at me, you look at yourself. My disability doesn't define me. My disabilities don't define me. In the fabric of who I am as a person, it might be one little thread in that fabric. I define my disability. Way before I'm a disabled person, I'm a father, I'm a brother, I'm an uncle, I'm a professor. I am those things way before. My disability is minute. It happens to be what I have. It's what I was given. But it doesn't define me. It doesn't make me as a person. Do you understand the importance of people first language now? It's huge. It's tiny. When we look at it in a concrete way, we're just changing words around. But it's huge in terms of its impact on our brain. If I heard constantly my whole life, you're disabled, you're disabled, you're disabled, what am I capable of? What is my brain doing? Okay? So look here. No person is a label. No person should be reduced to a single characteristic. I'm citing some real important doctors here, and I believe it's the University of Nevada, that did studies and said, hey, this is the conclusion that we've come to. We need to emphasize the person, not the disability, by the person first. We should say things like, a child who is blind instead of a blind child? Does that child's blindness define who they are? How many people wear glasses in here? Do I go up to you and go, hey, what's your name? I shouldn't ask people way in the back. My hearing's compromised in here. Martin. Are you nearsighted or farsighted? So, how about if I said, hey, farsighted, nearsighted Martin, how you doing today? That'd be wrong, right? And it would be just as wrong if I said, for somebody who's battling cancer, let's say, right? Would we say, oh, she's cancer? Would we say that? Or he's cancer? But what do we say oftentimes? Oh, he's autistic. He's mentally retarded. That's no more appropriate than it was for me to say Martin is, there goes far-sighted, nearsighted Martin. Right? It doesn't make sense. But we do it. Point is, we need to be cognizant of it. We need to be aware of our language. Not just with disabilities, but with everything, anything we say. Can someone read this for me, please? I just volunteered you. If you're comfortable, if you're not, it's good.
Individuals with disabilities are normal in many ways. The term abnormal can be
Disparaging,
disparaging,
derogatory.
or belittling. We all laugh, cry, get angry, feel pain, get excited, and want to be accepted and have fun.
So we want to, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Avoid language that projects struggle, pain, unfortunate, afflicted, victim of, or suffering.
Person first language describes what the person has, not what the person is. Okay? Adding to that list up there, we all bleed the same blood. When I get cut, it's red. How about you? We all have pretty much the same dreams. We all want good in our life. Everybody should. Everybody does, I think. We're the same in so many ways. Understand that we all project the world very differently. My brain's an organ, your brain's an organ. Your kidneys work differently than mine, but we both have kidneys. Does that make us bad people? Because I learn in a different way, does that make me bad, stupid, dumb? No, it's the way my brain processes it. Just like my kidneys process the liquids in my body differently than yours do. But it processes it. It's no different than having blue eyes versus brown eyes, being tall versus short. You are who you are. And you have wonderful gifts. All of us do. And here's what I also want to tell you. We're all going to get there. Each and every one of us. Wherever we need to be, we're going to get there. Some of us will roll there. Some of us will walk there. Some of us are going to run there. Some of us may crawl there. Some of us will get there tomorrow. Some of us will get there next year, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years. And guess what? It doesn't matter. We all will get there when we're supposed to. It's all okay. You're not broken. I'm not broken. I don't need to be fixed. You don't need to be fixed. You're perfect just the way you are. You're in the journey of life, and we're evolving. It's a process, and we're changing, and we're getting better and better as the days go by. So here's people first language, person first language. We are people, again, I told you, we're mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers. We define who we are, not our disability. You define who you are, not the little things that are just a thread in the cloth of who you are. So I'm going to show you yet another video, another clip. Samuel, how are we doing on time? or may not have agreed with some of what was said there, and that's okay. But the good thing is it allowed for that door to open for some thought. That was produced in Canada many years ago. So I want to give it a try. We're going to do it together. We're going to change some negative phrases to positive phrases. So rather than a handicapped person, what can we say? Or rather than a cerebral palsy victim, what can we say? A person with cerebral palsy. That's simple. A Down's child. A child with Down syndrome. Wheelchair bound or confined. A person that uses a wheelchair. Not confined. Autistic. A person with autism. Epileptic, etc. Retard person, that was actually an accepted word for many years, or mentally retarded. And we went from mentally retarded to developmentally delayed to now we call it ID, intellectually disabled. What about you? Are you diabetic? Are you hyperactive? Are you lactose intolerant? Etc., etc. Just like the same goes, oh, there goes lactose intolerant Mr. Bartkovsky. That wouldn't be too cool. So more positive language. He's a special ed student as opposed to he receives special education services or DSPS services. Okay? She is brain damaged or she has a brain injury. She has a problem with or she needs. Powerful. Let's focus on strengths, your own and those in others. Verbalize what you can and what others can do and not what others cannot do and what you cannot do. Example, I can't run 10 miles versus, and again, she can't kick a soccer ball versus I could run 5 miles. I may not run 10, but I could run 5. And she can kick a foam ball. Maybe not a soccer ball, but a foam ball. And that's okay. But you know what? It's not an easy task. And you know why it's not an easy task? Because it's hard. We are sort of wired to focus on negativity as human beings. And we got to change that. It's easier for us to cite what's wrong, because we've done it for so long, as opposed to cite what's right. It's much more difficult to recognize, celebrate, and verbalize our strengths. Why? Here's why. Because the brain is hardwired this way. It takes more time for the brain to respond to positive language, to positiveness. There is no threat associated with positive words. Remember this part of our brain and the 3 F's, or excuse me, this part of our brain and the 3 F's. It responds very quickly, the primitive part of the brain. Yes, ma'am. Most likely, yes. So people will respond almost instantly to a negative comment as opposed to a positive comment. For sure, when the negative is being said, yes, that part of the brain's fired up. Uh-oh, that's bad. I need to respond. I need to go in action here. My 3 F's need to happen here. Okay? Here's what the research tells us again. So important. The research tells us that, and there's a wonderful article, by the way, 2 wonderful articles in your handouts, and you can look at them later, but I wanted to show you that it's quantified, that this is research-based stuff. It's not hokey-pokey. You know, back in the 80s, and you're all too young, there was a time where we were told, oh, stand in front of the mirror and say things like, I am loved, I'm smart, people love me, I'm awesome. And we all thought, well, that's a little hokey-pokey, because it wasn't research-founded. But now we know it does work. Now we know positive affirmations do work. They do change our brain. They do fire our brain in a different way, in a good way. But here's what research tells us that's really super important. We must verbalize and process positive words at least 3 times for our brain to respond or change. So we have to hear good things at least 3 times for this part of the brain to slowly turn on. And guess what else? And this is in the article. When we're exposed to negative stimuli, it now takes 7 times to shut off that yucky part of the brain. And it has its uses. I'm just simplifying it way too much. But it takes 7 positivenesses, stimuli of positive, for that to shut off and for this to come back on after it's been exposed to negative. Pretty dramatic, right? So here's what I have to tell you. The wonderful thing about all this is when we use good language, you know what that is. We're not only giving a wonderful gift to somebody, but who else is hearing it? You are. So it's a gift you give, and it's a gift you receive. Because that wonderful part of your brain is now firing when you say it. And you say it enough, it truly makes a difference in your own development, in your own brain, in the way it responds and changes. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. You're giving and you're also receiving. So, know that it's all about respect, dignity, and understanding, not just for yourself, but for others. And I'm going to end it with this one clip. And then we're going to do one last final exercise, actually 2, and we're done. want to say that that piece about God, if it resonates with you, great. Don't leave here saying Mr. Bartokowski was advocating God. I'm not. We're not talking about religion. Happen to be in there. And if it resonates with you, again, fantastic. If it doesn't, that's fine too. So, two things I want to do. I want to first thank you. It's been a wonderful audience. I hope you valued some of this, that it resonated with you, and you're taking away something that you didn't know before. I want to first have you stand up again, as if you can, if you're able to. It's real important to me that you leave here feeling good. I gave you a lot of no's. I gave you some yeses, but we need to negate the negative. So I want you to repeat after me, please. I am smart. I am kind. And I am important. I am smart. I am kind. I am important. Think about it now, what that means. I am smart. I am kind. I am important. I am smart. I am kind. I am important. I am smart. I am kind. I am important. That's 4 times. I am smart. I am kind. And I am important. That's 5 times. I am smart. I am kind. And I am important. I am smart. I am kind. And I am important. That was 7 times, and your front part of your brain is lit up a little bit. In your folders, if you would do me this favor, on the KWL chart, write a couple of things of what you learned. That's for you to keep. And also in your folders is an evaluation form. If you'd be so kind as to fill that out, and you could leave it at the back table as you walk out. It helps me in future talks to understand how I could make it better and what I do well. Okay? Yes, sir. Are there any more folders? And you know, I'm horrible. Any questions? Any questions, and they could be anything. Anyone. Yes. I work for DSPS. I'm a disability specialist. I work with students with disabilities, and I help create accommodations that are appropriate for that student to succeed at college, to help them try to succeed. Any other questions? What's that? You could communicate with me by just going to Cerritos College and look me up. You'll get my email address and whatnot. Feel free to contact me. Come visit me in my office. I'm very, very busy, but I do have some vacant time so once in a while. Come in and just say hi. I would love that. I appreciate that. Any other questions? You know, I want you to know when you leave here, you know, growing up, there was no special education when I was growing up. But if you look at all my old report cards, it said things like, can't sit still in his seat, constantly looking out the window, can't focus. It's because I was ADD. You know, I got to tell you, it took many years to harness that. And I struggled with it, and I still struggle with it now, you know. I mean, I write notes to myself every day before I go to bed to tell me what I need to do the next day because I need to focus on it. It didn't turn on. I always say this. My brain didn't completely start to turn on until probably my 2nd year of college. Really, truly. I mean, I knew it was smart. Teachers knew I was smart, but I couldn't always do it, you know. Something was missing. One of the things I do, because I'm not a verbal learner or auditory learner, I constantly draw pictures in my head. And I'll give you a silly example, but let's say someone says to me, you pull over, you get lost, you go to a gas station, some guy says, I say, hey, how do I get back on the freeway? Well, you go out the driveway, make a left, you see a green liquor store, make a right, stay in your left-hand lane, and go down the freeway that way. Guess what I'm doing in my head? I'm in my car. I'm driving, I see the green, I see myself go out the driveway, I see myself get to the green liquor store, I turn here. It's all here. Because otherwise, guess what it is to me? Wah, 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 wah. It means nothing to me because my brain doesn't do that. I don't have that kind of brain. I'm a visual learner. I know that. So I have to draw those pictures in my head. Because of my ADD, I am constantly planning. Now, I'll give you a silly example. A fun thing like me to work in my garden. It's fun for me, but what I do is I'm working, and let's say I'm out there and I'm clipping roses. In my head, I'll go, okay, I got to pick up the shears when I come out the garage, and while I'm at it, I better pick up the trash can too, otherwise I have to go back. It's not natural for me to just do it. I have to plan it. Everything's in sort of steps with me, and it's just what I do. Because if I don't do it, I won't pick up the trash can. I won't remember it. When I go to the store and my wife says to me, hey, you need to get this, I say, okay, 3 things. And I picture them in my brain, and then I even try to make associations. Butter for bread. Do I get bread too? No, just butter. But I do that, and it's just natural. I've trained my brain to do that. But it's taken many, many years, but it works. And usually we find with people like myself, you eventually do create your own strategies even without anybody telling you. Now it's better. We have specialists like myself that give those recommendations to people. This is what you can do to help mitigate what you're dealing with or how you learn. But I had to learn what my strengths were first. I had to learn that I'm a visual learner. So I didn't focus so much on I can't learn auditorily. I know I learn visually, so let me create those visuals. It's always better to work with what you have, what you can do, and focus on it. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you very, very, very much. I appreciated you coming here. I really enjoyed talking with you. And please take what you learned here today and put it in practice. That's important.